Alright, we're back with another video. This is my, it's so sunny, or the sunset. Japanese Grand Prix predictions. Probably one of my favorite circuits on the calendar. One, because Yuki Tsunoda used to be his home Grand Prix before he got dropped. And two, it's just like, it's a great racetrack. All the drivers like it. Like it's like more of like a driver's circuit. So like the car matters less. Like it's more about who's the better driver than who has the best car. The car still matters, but just like less than most circuits. So holy stutter there, what the? But yeah, we're just gonna talk about my predictions. So key storylines going into this race. They lowered the amount of power in qualifying, electrical power you have in total. So like there'll be less harvesting, I guess, and more flat out through the corners, especially the S's at the start of the lap. Yeah, just a great mix of high speed, medium speed, and low speed corners. Pretty long straight, back straight, and then obviously the main straight. Max Verstappen put in probably one of the greatest laps I've ever seen in my life. Last year in qualifying to take pole. You beat the McLarens, which was really impressive last year, particularly at that time last year. So yeah, he beat the McLarens, and he's won the last 4 Japanese Grand Prix. So we'll see what he can do this year. Obviously, he's probably not going to win this year. Suzuka, the circuit, favors a big turbo. So like the Ferrari has a small turbo, so they're probably not going to run as well here as like Mercedes, who have a bigger turbo. So Mercedes will probably dominate. They should dominate this circuit and this weekend, but don't be surprised if you see Red Bull in the mix for a podium, or McLaren in the mix for a podium. It's been all Mercedes, Ferrari the first 2 races, but I think it's gonna be different this race. Drivers will have their elbows out because there's a lot of. It's like a circuit where I wouldn't say, because last year there's no overtakes, but usually it's where like action happens, especially through the S's. Spoon, the hairpin, the last chicane. So I'm excited for this race. I think it'll be a good race. So I'll give you my predictions. So my podium is gonna be Max Verstappen in 3rd, George Russell in 2nd, and Kimi Antonelli takes pole and the win for the race. The only thing, I think Kimi Antonelli will run better at Suzuka. That was one of her stronger tracks last year, performed pretty well at. So I think he'll beat George again, not by much. The only thing I'm concerned about is his start. I don't know, like if he loses the lead, if he doesn't have a good start, it's gonna be hard for him to climb back up to a win. But I'm banking on him having a good start. He's been having struggles with that. Max Verstappen, terrible start. Like, he's not had one good start. He's been after the first lap, he's been P20 every session. So we'll see if he can fix it. This is obviously the last race before we have a month break, because they canceled the Bahrain and Saudi Grand Prix. So this is the last F1 race we're gonna have for at least a month. For a month, yeah. There's no races in April. Then we go straight to Miami. So yeah, those are my podium predictions. My good surprise, I'm thinking about this on the fly, so I really don't know yet, but my good surprise is I'm gonna go Pierre Gasly again. I'm gonna go Pierre Gasly again. I feel like he's just, I don't know, the most underrated driver on the grid. He'll get at least a P8, P9. That'll be a win for him. So yeah, I think the Alpine does well. Mercedes engine, good car. Yeah, I think they'll do well. My big flop is Ferrari. I mean, I already kind of gave it away by not having them on my podium, but based on these first two races, they're the second fastest team. So, and they're fighting at least at the start for P1 with the Mercedes. So, and they have a great start. So like they've been P1 every session at the after the opening lap. So I'd assume that you'd assume that they're good and like they'd be competitive, but I don't think they will be this session or this weekend because of the nature of the track. I mean, it's a small turbo. They have a small turbo, so that's why they're able to get their start is so good because they don't have to harvest. It's easier to harvest their energy because it's not like a big, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's like easier for them to manage their energy and get their energy like to the right level, so they deplete all at the start. So they're always like jump up to first because they get great starts, but it limits them on high speed tracks and tracks with long straights. So I really do think that the Ferrari won't get a podium here. Obviously, I think they'll still get, P4, P5, but I feel like that'd be a disappointment given how good the season, or how good they started the season. So that's my prediction. Ferrari will not be on the podium. So going more about like the turbo and the energy, the Mercedes is great in a straight line. They're the fastest team in a straight line. They have the best engine. The Red Bull Ford engine is actually pretty fast. It's just the car is the chassis, like the build is not good. So Verstappen is always like number one on like fastest on the straight, or one of the fastest on the straight, but then like you see him in the corners and it's just like 14th fastest in the corner. So it's more about, but in this at Suzuka, it's more of like a high powered circuit. So like the Red Bull should be better because look at Hadjar in Australia. He got P3 in qualifying. It's a high-speed track. Verstappen, even though he crashed, he climbed his way all the way back to, I think it was a P5. So that just shows you like it's already in practice. So I'd bank on Red Bull having a better weekend than they did in China for sure. I bet money on that. So so we'll see if that comes true. My one crazy prediction, I'm gonna go with 15 or less finishers. So at least 5 DNFs. At least that's a lot. So that's a fourth of the field. Or what? No, there's 22 drivers now. I think there'll be at 15 classified finishes or less, so 7 DNFs. That's what I'm saying. That is a lot. That's like crazy. But I feel like Suzuka, there's a lot of margin for error. There's not a lot of margin for error. If you make a mistake, you're off. And it's a circuit. It's like kind of narrow, so like, especially through 130R, Spoon, you can see a lot of incidents. The S's for sure, especially with all this energy recovery and depletion. There's a lot of like, yo-yo racing. That's what they like to call it. So there's more chance of incidents, especially on lap 1. So I feel like there'll be a lot of DNS this race, and I say there'll be 15 or less classified finishers. So that's my one crazy prediction. But yeah, keeping it short, 10 minutes. So we'll see if that comes true.